Hi, I'm doing another one of these because I think it's important. So, Honkai Star Rail 2.0 is released and it's good. I think the story at least has peaked and the characters too. Not talking about gameplay, just character personality and whatnot. But it's lacking in other areas, and I think this is a crucial detail that HeavierFX need to correct. Because it's gonna damage the game long term. And I stopped playing in 1.1 mainly due to the absurd nature of some of the game. Like, I think the one thing that pushed me over the edge was the fucking cart puzzle and Bezelbog. I got fed up of that because it was just animation after animation you had to wait for. It's just like, can you fucking improve this? It's not hard to do. Like, you put the animation there, so you just need to remove it. It makes no sense. I have to say that, at least in Penacony, they don't suffer from that issue as much. It's much improved now. There is still those bits where it's like, why? Like, I think it was like the eagle bits in Dream's Edge, I think it is. In that bit, you have to go to this eagle form and rotate modules and move them. It's just like, why do we need to go to this camera view or cutscene? Like, okay, maybe the camera view for the sake of the puzzle itself, but why all these animations that take so long? It just frustrates me in the end. And the enemy design is also a bit questionable. Because I think for a returning or new player, for that matter, it's going to be absolute agony for them because these enemies are not easy. It took me a while to figure them out as well. But they're so gimmicky that it just begs the question, like, who designed this and why? Because it's just bad. Like, the fact that, like, the dinosaur, for example, requires 6 attacks. Or 6 attacks to just stop it from killing a whole team. That's stupid. That shouldn't be a thing. It should be 4 attacks at most. Because not everyone's going to have speed characters or even ultimates ready to spam that, and the strategy really is to save the ultimates, which is not efficient. And that's why it's so frustrating as well. And also it kind of invalidates supports, because they can't really support. So it's just a stupid design. And then you've got the monkey, the gorilla, whatever. He throws Soul Guard at you. You need a shield to counter it. And us free-to-play players, we only have March 7th and Trailblazer, but how the fuck do you give AoE shields on March 7th, and how do you survive the shields with Trailblazer? Well, these are important questions to ask. And even then, like, isn't Fujuan like a damage mitigator? So the fact that we only have one unit in the game that is capable of countering it, Jeopard, I don't know if you say his name, is just completely ridiculous. And it's stupid because that's changed the meta. It's a bit like how it happened in Genshin Impact. I know there's a controversy with Zhongli of how it used to be useless. Then, like, the shield meta changed in Inazuma because they added enemies that drain your health. Yeah. So the shield was just useless at that point, and it only took another year to get a shield healer. Although we did actually have one with Diona, but the point is it's like a 5-star with a better shield, pretty much. But that's the sort of shit we're looking at here. It's power creeping the enemies, and it's not fun design because you have to get these specific characters to deal with a specific problem. Am I missing something? Or is that just bad game design? And essentially they're trying to sell you the solution, in a sense. Anyway, that was all the script. Fuck yeah. I actually wrote a bit about what it's like to be a returning player in Penacony and 1.6 for that matter, and how the game sort of treated us. It's nice to have that welcoming reward thing with like a reserved jailblaze power and there's like locking rewards and double mechanic stuff, which is handy, but the game doesn't tell you to plan carefully. And that, I think, is a thing that needs to change in the game as a whole. Because I think the fact that I built, for example, Junior One, who's utterly useless now, it makes me have so many regrets of building him, and even using him for that matter. Scylla sort of works, but she's not as good as others, and I would have preferred to save for Stella Jade and get Jingji. I can't say her name. I prefer to get her up instead because she does more damage, to be honest. So yeah, so the first thing I want to go into is more Stella Jades, if that isn't obvious. And the reason I say this is because there's characters I want, and obviously returning players want that I can't necessarily afford. Even though there are aspects of the games that are more generous than Genshin, it doesn't exactly equal that amount. So, in a sense, you're getting less for more playtime, and it's not good. Like, from Penacony, I think I only got about 6,000 Stellar Jades, which is much less than Genshin for exploration. And that's not good. Well, exploration quests, I mean, it's a combination. So I calculated roughly 6,000 from that. And that's really not a good amount. That's not even like I'm trying to calculate like 40 balls, it's not even 40 balls. That's what I'm trying to say. That's like half a guaranteed pity, pretty much, for a 5-star. That's not good. And the other thing is that even though we've got Doctor Ratio for free, and it's appreciated, I think most of us would agree we prefer character selectors. It's not to say we don't want Doctor Ratio, just that most of us, I think, want a specific character and want to build them. And now we've got like Doctor Ratio for free, we're like, what do we do? Do we build him or do we just ignore him? And I think most of us assumed he was just gonna be like a sleeper 5-star, I guess you call him. He just wasn't gonna be any good, but it turns out that he is kind of good. He's actually above average for a 5-star, I think. But if I had the choice, I'd pick Julia. I think she's far better and more loved by the community, fan base, player base even. That could be improved, of course. The next thing to talk about is building characters. I think it was, and it still is, abysmal. It made me want to quit a few times. Whether it's relic farming or trace farming, having so much of this be reliant on RNG and luck, not to mention the battle pass and shop to speed it up, is absurd. Easily the second least enjoyable part of the game, and there's so much that could be improved on. Like relics with like the fixed stat thing. I think you should be able to give extra to give guaranteed substats, like up to 2, let's say. Or maybe craft a self-modeling resin with like 1,000. I don't know. That's just inefficient. That's dumb. Never mind. There needs to be improvements to that. And you just need a better way to build a character. And with my suggestion earlier of descending a character, getting all the materials back and being able to convert them, use them for another character even. That would be stupidly useful. Like, if I could refund everything I put on Junior on, and put that on the Jingzer, and then also refund everything I put on Zilla, and put that on Dr. Ratio, that'd be fucking great. And that also includes the credits and stuff. But also you can't get about the wishes. They've already been claimed, of course. The warps, as they call it. It's just crazy, and I wish there was just more thought put into that. It's not hard to add to a game, I don't think. Probably as an exploit, but even then, you've got a beta for that. You've got players testing it, thousands of them, I think. Probably more actually, given the amount of leaks there are. And don't get me started on leaks and the FOMO that creates them. That gives them traction pretty much. It gives them a reason to exist. The next thing, which is worse than this, is the in-game content. For some stupid fucking reason, someone at HeavierFX thought to add in-game content that basically aims to use a specific character or characters. Because as far as I know, there's not a single FTP account who can be the current in-game content. So it just goes to show that it's been carelessly made and it's just stupid. Like, I've only been able to get up to floor 9, I think, on Memory of Chaos currently, 2.0. And that's with very underleveled characters and very well planned out, but the point is that it's not fun, it's not rewarding either. And I'm just fed up of it at this point. I almost don't want to touch it, but I have to because of the rewards it gives. And I think worse than that is that it's sort of shoved in your face, like with Pure Fiction, for example. You're basically asked to do it to get better rewards, and it's just not fun. Like, I think pretty sure everyone wants like the self-modeling resin, I think it has in the Icon store. There's also like Relic Salvage and Relic XP, which is used for on credits for that matter. But you can't get the fucking currency for it because it's locked behind the harder difficulties. And you can't even get to the harder difficulties because of the fucking time limits and stuff. Like, if you didn't have Trailblaze power, you could be able to farm this out, no problem. Like, you could probably do everything in a week, like build every character without Trailblaze power. Because you would have so much stuff to farm, and so much, like, I don't know, like, you'd just be rich, pretty much. And given the game's already an auto battle, it makes sense to make something unlimited. So just remove Trailblaze power, please. It's not fucking hard. Anyway, the other thing that's bad about this is that it creates such a big gap between the player base. Like, you imagine you get players all the time asking why does I got my characters be Memory of Chaos or Pure Fiction, and then you get someone saying because you're a noob or skill issue. Yeah, that's not helpful. That's not helping anyone, and that's actually worsening the player base. So you're part of the problem, and I think, in a sense, HeavierFX should permanently ban your account, just for toxicity's sake. Because that's just not a fun thing. Like, nobody should be harassed for being behind, or, like in my case, not being as intelligent as other people. So, it sucks. It needs to change. And also imagine this is why there's so much toxicity in like Genshin Impact, because there's also that divide as well. Like, I'm in a situation where I can beat endgame content no problem. In Genshin at least, but Honkai Star Rail, it's like, I don't know, you just feel like, I'm trying to think of an analogy for it, fuck. Basically an easy prey, that's what I'm saying. I already went through Explosion, so I won't talk about that as character kits, yes. I think it's really hard to see what characters are good now because so many players have sort of conflated or inflated, whatever, or spread misinformation about certain characters. And so it's hard to figure out who's best to roll for and who's not. Like, last patch I tried to roll for Blade because he is a good character apparently. And I didn't get him in the end, so I lost the pity to Bronya, I think. Which is kind of handy, because she's pretty good, I think. But that brings in another issue. I also want Jing Liu, and also wanted Imbibber to Lune, then I said no, and then I decided, fuck it. I like the character, so I'll get him anyway. But then you got a character like Sparkle who's coming out soon, who we know the kit of. She's power creeping Bronya and fucking Tinian. Like, anyone who's a support that deals extra damage. Not, on top of that, she gives skill points and increases skill points to 7. What the fuck is this about? I don't admit it's going to change eventually, but this seems like it's going too far. Because you've got characters who are only just able to beat content, who've been playing since day one, and then you get this. A character who just completely changes the meta. And now everyone wants that character, and then, yeah, there's not much choice and not much you can do. And you just run out of Stellar Jades because you end up wanting these characters to beat the content better. Yeah, it's an endless cycle. It fucking sucks. But the problem with that power creep is it creates so many new problems rather than solve so many. So I think if you don't release new characters for a year, we'd be in a much better place, I think, as a player base and for the game itself. Because now we can continue building our current characters and catch up with the content eventually, so we're on an even playing ground in a sense. But because that's not the case, we end up being far behind and needing new characters and needing more resources. But as far as I know, I don't think anyone's reached Trailblaze level 60, even though it should be possible at the moment. I mean 70, 60. That's going to be an eventual thing, and eventually everyone's going to have that and have an easier time. Because they don't have to worry about credits, which is annoying. Like, the credit system is stupid as well. I think Engaging Impact that also holds it down. Something useless that just needs to be removed. It's just more friction, more than it needs to be. As if daily farming limits wasn't enough. Fuck me. There are so many embarrassing aspects of HeavierFX games anyway. I think that's one of them. But I don't know if they make up for that with a good story and character design. I don't know. Anyway, that's all I've got to talk about. Obviously, there's a lot of improvements, so yeah, they need to be done.